Sex in the middle of the night is good, it's great, but it can be very unhealthy for the relationship if you don't mix it up with regular daytime or before sleep sex. And he sees you saddling him into pleasure, like he's waking into pleasure. That's mad sensation. You drive him nuts. Now, you can't be doing this to a stranger that you've just met. That would be sexual assault. And trust me, no man is ever going to sleep throughout a head job if you know what you're doing. Okay, especially when he's high. And there's a different kind of sensation you get when you're high. I think that a lot of people love having unplanned sex during sleep hours because it usually lasts as long as a typical quickie. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jane Lawrence and I come with a lot of juicy content on my channel. Now, don't get so comfortable with me in colored clothes because I might just go back. This is just for a period of time. Anyways, if this is your first time, do well to subscribe to this channel. I bring you only juicy content right here. You don't want to mess with me. Subscribe while I wait, okay? Now, on today's episode, I'm going to be a little naughty, okay? So naughty, you would not believe it. And this is strictly for the married ones. Strictly for the married ones. Okay, I'm just going to play a scenario for you that you could use on your man, on your husband, with your husband. Now, when last did you go to the club? When last did you have fun? Like, literally, you took yourself out on a date, and from the date, you decided to spend the night in the club, dancing, taking a little bit of alcohol here and there, something to get you tipsy, not drunk, because you're definitely going to drive. One of you is going to drive home, and you need to be sane enough to drive, or you need to be aware of yourself. You need to be conscious enough to drive home safely, all right? We're not trying to die here. Now, you're all tipsy, she's all tipsy. I don't know how people act when you're tipsy, but for me, I get pretty much excited. Not excited sexually, but excited in a sense that I start to laugh. Yeah, there are some people who just let loose of their inhibition and they get sexually charged. So if you're that type of person, then this is the great opportunity for you. Okay, so you get home. Hopefully he falls asleep. I know one of my friends will be watching right now. Hopefully he falls asleep, or maybe he's so tired he falls asleep. You smoosh and all of that stuff. You probably must have even had sex before he falls asleep. Then you also fall asleep. What this entails. Now, this is where the whole shebang happens. He's deep in sleep. You're also asleep, but maybe you wake up early enough before him. And in the dark, you start to go down on him slowly. Do whatever you need to do. No, you don't even need to go down on him. Nah, you don't need to do that. Because when you go down on him, he might come to, and you don't want him coming to when you're going down on him. You want him to come to when you're riding him. And you have to ride him in a reverse cowgirl so that when he comes to, he's coming to in pleasure of what you're doing. And he doesn't really understand what's happening, but he thinks in his head that he's having a dream, or he's having a trance, or there is something happening. He's having the wildest experience in bed, but in his dream. It will be until he finally comes to consciousness that he realizes that you've been straddling him. Now, what this does is that while he's asleep, you're saddling him. However, you're out of your clothes. You're in the dark, maybe. Or maybe there is a dim light or blue light or red light, very dim in the dark, so that when he comes to, he sees the image of you. He just sees you up and down, his weapon of mass destruction. Now, in his subconsciousness, he will think that he's having it in his dream. Of course, I don't subscribe to people having sex in dreams, but I'm sure that some of us have had sex in a dream, and you know how intense the feeling is like. It's sort of more intense than the feelings you have physically. From the little experience that I've had in a dream world, I could tell you for a fact that the sensation is way extraordinary, like out of this world, compared to how it is in the natural. Do you get it? It's like more intensified. So more, I don't know how to explain that. So in his head, he's feeling like he's having that experience in his dream until he realizes that, no, this is not stopping. He's coming into consciousness and he sees you saddling him into pleasure. Like he's waking into pleasure. That's mad sensation. That's mad crazy. You drive him nuts. In fact, you will drive him crazy. Now, you can't be doing this to a stranger that you've just met. That would be sexual assault. You can't be doing this to anyone that you're not committed to. If you're not committed to a man, don't do this, all right? Because that's like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to use the word. It's not something to do. So that's why I'm advising that you do this to your man that you're committed to, your man that you're married to. It will make a lot of sense, okay? So that's another way to get freaky in this season. Spice up your bedroom in this season. And you know, when he comes to realize what you're doing, then he can take it from there. What you did is you fed his soul. And that's one amazing thing to do to your man. One amazing thing to do to your husband. So if you're not even saddling him, right, you could actually just go down on him while he's sleeping. And trust me, no man is ever going to sleep throughout a head job if you know what you're doing. Okay, especially when he's high. And you know, there's a different kind of sensation you get when you're high. Like when you're tipsy. I'm not saying high off whatever. There's a different sensation that you get. There's a different confidence that you get when you're a little tipsy. You tend to do stuff that you never in your wildest dream imagined you would do. Once in a while, just take a sip, or not a sip, take more than a sip of a little bit of wine, a little bit of brandy, to a point that you get really tipsy and you would let loose. You start to do the unimaginable. Now, is it possible to have sex with someone while they sleep? Sure, it's possible. But more important than not, your partner is likely to wake up. So the question is, what will they think when they see you doing that, getting sexual with them? What will they think? Will they just basically think that it's awesome that you really wanted them that much? Or would they feel violated because the person didn't get their permission in advance? Because these are really important things to consider with, you know, middle of the night sex when the man is sleeping or when your partner is sleeping. And it doesn't matter if you're married or not, or you're in a committed relationship. If your partner has not given you consent while they are in a conscious state, then you're raping them. That's a fact. And so with that said and done, it's very important to consider this when you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to have sex. Just because you're awake and horny doesn't mean that your partner is either awake or horny. So if middle of the night sex is something that you really want to try, even if your partner is asleep, then you need to talk about it to them. And you should talk about it during the daytime. This conversation doesn't have to be awkward. In fact, it can be a real turn on for some men or for some partners. But before you decide to have sex in the middle of the night when your partner is sleeping, you should really consider your partner's feelings and the state of consciousness. If they aren't responsive, then you should probably wait. If you can't wait, then it's best for you to take care of yourself instead. So I'm going to give you 5 tips to make middle of the night sex better, especially when your partner is, not fully conscious. Number 1, take it slow. You need to warm up to the act, because your raging hormones could be giving you a stiff time and making it harder to think. Just because you are hard or you're wet doesn't mean your partner has to feel the same way. So you need to warm them up for a few minutes and ensure that they're ready for you before you find your way in. Number 2, you need to whisper in their ear. Sometimes talking sexually or saying something dirty can work wonders for your partner. So in their half asleep state, whatever you say could be interpreted in a manner that would be that would best arouse them, and that definitely would work in your favor. Thirdly, make sure that both of you finish. You don't need to be selfish in this type of situation, because you make your partner feel used. All right, your partner has had a rude awakening. The least you can do to make it up to them is to help them feel good about the midnight romp. All right? It's all right if it's short and quick, just as long as both of you orgasm. That's fine. So by ensuring that your partner has a positive experience, you're also ensuring that they would enjoy it the next time you pull a fast one or a quick one on them in the middle of the night. Okay? In fact, they would be even expecting it sometimes. And then number 4, don't insist. If they don't want it, don't insist. This may feel like a cold shower, but if your partner doesn't want to do it, don't push your luck. Finish up by yourself if you really have to. After all, it's not fair to get annoyed with your lover because they couldn't satisfy your completely selfish wimp when they're tired, okay? And then number 5, mix it up with daytime sex. Sex in the middle of the night is good, it's great, but it can be very unhealthy for the relationship if you don't mix it up with regular daytime or before sleep sex. So avoiding sex at other times of the day would only make your partner feel insecure in a relationship. Here are some good sides to middle of the night sex. The spontaneity and the rave and the raging hormones, that sex brings in the middle of the night can make both of you feel really appreciated and admired. And the sex is almost always good and a lot wilder and animalistic. I think that a lot of people love having unplanned sex during sleep hours because it usually lasts as long as a typical quickie. Also, sleepiness helps both of you shed your inhibition, and it helps you get naughtier and wilder in bed, and that's almost never a bad thing. All right, that's one way for you to bring spice into the bedroom in this season of holiday. Okay then.